Man, all right, you know who's gonna have to get into this. The aftermath. The aftermath. Piston, Timberwolves. Hot damn. This was this was the definition of Detroit versus everybody. It was the definition of it. Teams aren't gonna care if you got Jenkins, Waters, Tolum Smith, Bobby Clintman, and Fontecchio as your starting lineup. If they beat, they gonna feel good about themselves. Teams right now are playing the Pistons. Any type of victory they can get over them is a victory. Is a victory. You know, this was one of those games, man. It took me a while to get over it because I was pissed. I was heated. I was heated. I was hot. I felt for my man Ron, who was at the bottom of the scrum. They call it a brawl. I put it in a brawl because I think that's the term that's being used for it right now. But I would by no means call this a brawl, right? Malice in the Palace, that was a brawl, right? They was knocking heads off cats who's coming onto the court. That was a brawl, right? What they was doing back in the 80s and the 90s was brawls. These, at the most, are scrums, and I hate the way it gets guys because it's so racially loaded to me. Not just to me, but from the research. If you study sports, it's just so clear. It's so clear. Policing black people's bodies means that, if people are getting, high energy, loud, you gotta calm them down. You have to be scared of them. Why? Because we're not human beings who have emotions. We're scary monsters who might explode at any moment and destroy the world, right? But if you hockey, where they play on hard ice, not a hard softwood floor. If you go to hockey, where they got razor blades on their shoes, they're allowed to just stop the whole game and fist fight each other until they both get tired, literally. And then they get a 3-minute penalty box, right? No multiple game suspensions, not shutting it. Uh, it's okay there, and it's very clear why it's racially loaded, why they call it a brawl instead of just a scrum. And if you ever been a part of a fight with several people, you understand that, when you're just grabbing each other, pushing and shoving, that's like what we call a tussle, right? I'm mad at you. That's what the NBA is at this point. It's a tussle. Guys ain't really swinging and throwing blows. At the same time, I felt for my man Ron Holland. I felt Ron. Ron Holland is at the bottom of the scrum, and he's sitting there with Dante DiVincenzo standing over him. Nas Reed falling on top of him, surrounded in a crowd that's yelling and screaming. Got his teammates trying to get Nas Reed, who's 6'10", off of him, and he's a rookie. He's a rookie. It's funny, like most of his scrums, outside of maybe one, have been like him showing up in the energy, but he's kind of still a cool guy. He ain't really trying to like throw hands at people, but he's ready for the action. All of a sudden, the action came to him, and this was different. And so I kind of felt for him because he was at the bottom of something that probably he didn't even deserve to be at the bottom of. He was literally in a situation where he's sitting there playing defense, giving great effort, and that is somehow seen as aggressive enough for grown-ass Dante DiVincenzo, who's 28 years old. What's good, Jake? What's good, man? And then Nas Reed jumping on top of veterans, jumping on top of a rookie. And so I felt for Ron. All that's to say is we need to get into this aftermath. Now, before we get into the aftermath and moving forward, I also want to say I rewatched that third quarter. I rewatched the third quarter, and there's something I'm recognizing that teams are doing just across the board that's happening over the course of games. You have to understand, teams are starting to recognize that the Detroit Pistons are having one of the best defensive seasons in a long time, and they are an absolutely elite defense, especially when they have Dennis Schroeder at the point of attack along with Asar Thompson. Teams just find it extremely hard to be able to score against them. And with Jalen Duren in the middle, guys rotating and being in the right position, playing on a string, it is incredibly hard to score against the Detroit Pistons starting lineup. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. And this is what teams are pretty much almost across the board doing. They're leaving in their starters after the Pistons make their first round of subs. And what they're hoping for is to find mismatches that allows their starters to get themselves going, especially in the second half, knowing that they're going to have to get some distance or catch up before Cade and company come back in to close out games. Now, the thing is, you also have guys like Dennis Schroeder, who's been closing out games pretty well. Hardaway Jr. and Malik Beasley, they showed up. The starting five for the Pistons showed up. They just needed more. They needed more, especially to overcome the loss of Ron Holland, who brings so much on both ends of the Isaiah Stewart. We know what he brings on both ends of the court now more than ever, especially after that shake y'all seen with Evan Mobley having him on, put it behind his back, to the rim with the lefty finish. Isaiah Stewart's giving him more. Marcus Sasser was thrown out of this game too, who they definitely needed because you could see that Dennis Schroeder is wearing down a bit. Play, his jump shot hasn't really returned to him like it was in Brooklyn. All right, of course, Dennis Schroeder had a full offseason knowing he's going to be a part of Brooklyn's team. And then he has a full training camp. So he was more acclimated to the offense and he was shooting extremely well. He goes to the Golden State Warriors and all of a sudden his shooting falls off in that helter-skelter, inconsistent set of minutes and lineup rotations. And he gets to the Pistons and he's finding his legs a little bit, but he still hasn't found his jump shot. He hasn't found. So what was been taking place is that Dennis Schroeder has been struggling a bit offensively. And that has put a different type of burden on this team. Now, I want to point out a few things that I wish Luke Walton would have noticed or tried to make an adjustment with. Because I think that there was a chance for the Pistons to stay in this game a little bit closer in that third quarter. But there was a few things that they needed to kind of focus in on. The first thing was they needed better spacing. Too often they were getting caught after setting down screens away from the ball to bring shooters to the ball. They were getting caught with guys standing around in close proximity. They had really bad spacing on different possessions. This did not create guys to be able to either slip screens, to be able to curl to the basket, even attack the basket. Secondly, they began to throw the best defender on Dennis Schroeder. They put Jalen McDaniels on Dennis, really slowed him down as well. That was a tough matchup for him. And then they were letting Julius Randle rest by guarding Asar Thompson in the corner. We have to figure out ways to get Asar Thompson more touches and more opportunities. And here's the thing, it's not just the shot opportunities, because I think he gets opportunities that he doesn't always foresee for himself. And so we have to figure out a way to get him into certain spots where he feels comfortable taking shots. Because too often he's driving, getting paint touches, and then he's just dribbling back out the other side, swinging the ball, and does nothing with it. Asar Thompson is going to have to start figuring out what is his shot package. And one of the shots that I want to see him go to is taking that pull-up jump shot from about 8 to 10 feet out. Asar Thompson gets to the paint readily, and what guys are starting to do, and this is another point of emphasis, is they just lay off of him. They just lay off. Vitor Borges, I don't know if I've seen my channel in a while, but what's up, man? What's up? It's Detroit Pistons basketball, NBA talk. If you're here for that, to stay in here, you know what I'm saying? Smash the like button for me. This is an interactive live, so if you got comments, things to say about the game, put it in there and we'll chop it up. Especially if you give a super chat, we'll pause on the spot and talk about it. But here's the thing. Asar Thompson is going to have to start recognizing that he has advantage of the shots that he's creating for himself. Now, I know there were a few fouls that aren't getting called. I get that. He's going to have to start learning how to go up stronger with 2 hands, 2 feet, exploding at the rim, going up strong. That kind of a technique that you learn more when you get into the NCAA college ball, where it's extremely physical. And you're going to have to learn how to finish strong. And there's times where Asar finishes too soft. He's trying to use too much finesse. And he's going to have to learn to go up stronger. But it's to say the other shots he has the ability to get to, whether it's a little turnaround jump shot, whether it's in the post, and being able to spin off of somebody. But I think he needs to start doing down what type of shots he's going to go for and creating those shots first and forcing the defense to rotate to him. Otherwise, they're just backing off him, daring him to shoot, and he's not ready. The last part of this was Jalen Duren. Jalen Duren was somebody that I've been wanting to step up more. I want him to give me some more offense, like much more offense. I need Jalen Duren to start giving me uh, that leadership vibe that tries to take over games. Job facilitating and playmaking for his teammates. And he's doing a good job of pick and roll, dump offs, hitting the glass, and things of that nature. And that's, as I forgot to mention about Asar Thompson. He's got to get on those boards better. He ended the game with only 4 rebounds, 3.5 minutes. That's not acceptable for him, especially when we have a team that we're going up against a team that was so much bigger. Jalen McDaniels at 6'10", Julius Randle at 6'9", but he's a bulldozer at 6'9". And then you have Rudy Gobert at 7'1". We needed to be a group kind of gang rebounding type of a game. So we needed Asar to have at least 8 to 10 rebounds in this game, and he didn't. And that also sparks in transition and gets his transition offense going, which it was much nullified. But only 4 rebounds, only 2 of them defensive. It really speaks to why he wasn't as involved in this game as we may have liked. But as I say, with Jalen Duren, I needed him to try to take over. I needed him to try to take over. I needed him to be able to say, give me the ball, especially when they put Jalen McDaniels on Dennis Schroeder. Yo, what's good, Justin Chadden? Smash the like button for me. Join the live chat. It's interactive. So if you have any points to make about the Pistons game last night against the Timberwolves, throw it at me in the chat, especially the super chat, and we can chop it up. But it's to say, Jalen, I need, asking for the ball and really stepping into being the biggest talent on the court. Next to Asar Thompson, you are the biggest talent. And when we talk about offensively, you're the one on the court, I think at all times, has the greatest mismatch when it comes to one-on-one offensive creation. There's not really a big man in the NBA that can really stay with you, unless it's like a Giannis Antetokounmpo or something like that. They lack the physicality, they lack the foot speed, they lack the quickness or the length to be able to keep you away from the rim. And that's what we need to see. If you see Dennis Schroeder struggling, if you see Tim Hardaway Jr. out, and the other team is going on a run, we need you to start recognizing, oh, this is my moment. Give me the ball, clear out, I'm going one-on-one. And even take a jump shot, bro. Take a jump shot. Like, you only had one free throw. A few times you were fouled at the rim. I get it. But I need you to take that jump shot. When they lay off you, take the jump shot. Justin Chatton, what are your thoughts on Asar playing the 4 versus Cavs and Wolves? I like his versatility and him being able to roam more in that position. Yes and no. I feel like Asar hasn't figured out yet how to exploit playing the 4 offensively. Though I do think his best attribute in taking advantage of playing the 4 offensively is in defensive rebounding and then getting up the floor fast in transition and getting to the rim. I think that's something that he's going to have to focus on a little bit when he's playing that power forward position. When he's playing on the wing and there's somebody like Tobias Harris taking care of the rebounding along with Jalen Duren, he can then afford to leak out a little bit more, and he finds his offense in transition there as well. But I just need to start Thompson being offensively aggressive. In this game, he was 6 of 15, which is good. He took 5 shots, but it was the quality of the shots. I think there were a lot of opportunities for him to have a little pull-up jump shot in the middle of the paint, and I want to see that more from Asar Thompson. But that's a great point. I don't think long-term he's going to be at that power forward position, especially against somebody like Julius Randle. I don't think that that's the best way to utilize him. When you have a lighter power forward, Mobley or something like that, sure, do it. But against a Julius Randle, physically, I think it was a bit much for him to deal with. But I also think he's getting used to playing more minutes. He played 33 and a half minutes. It's the second game in a row, 30 minutes a game. And I think that he's getting used to that level of conditioning. And so this has been a part of the learning curve. But that's a great point. Once again, for y'all that are in here, I got 9 people in this chat. Smash the like button for me. And definitely if you have any comments, holler at me in the chat. And this is an interactive chat, so I'm going to get to it. All to say is I need a little bit more from Jalen Duren. Moving forward in this aftermath, look, that this team is going to have to figure out is that playing Detroit basketball means that the NBA, first off, the referees are going to have to adjust to how they're going to referee you. I think they're giving more leeway and to be able to play physical. But that also means that the Pistons have to know how to differentiate between physical and setting themselves up to get cheap fouls. And this is where guys are going to have to be, they're going to have to play really smart. When you think about the Detroit Bad Boys or even the, Pistons in that '04 season when they won a championship, those are extremely smart defenders. Extremely smart. They had great length, great acumen, defensive end. They played together, really good size. They were tough. They were physical, smart. They were smart. They didn't put themselves in a lot of compromised positions that made it easy for the other team to take advantage of them and get foul calls on them. And this is where these Pistons are going to have to grow up. And that's why I don't mind them games where they are frustrated by the whistle. Because some of the fouls are just, I'm not going to say that I'm not going to call them dumb fouls. It's hard not to call them dumb fouls. But there's a good amount of fouls that are just an errant mistake. For example, Jalen Duren fouling Rudy Gobert nearly at half court as he's coming up. I understand you're trying to stay close. You're putting it around his waist. But here's the thing. Veteran players know how to draw the foul, draw the attention of the referee to your hands, to your physical play. And so you have to know when to assert physical play and when not to. You have to know when you can play a certain level of physical play and when you can't. And those types of moments were really devastating because you're already down. You needed during 35 minutes in this game, if not more. He only played 26 minutes. He had 5 fouls. And this is the type of game where it's like, man, this is where we need you to step up as a leader during. We needed you to be able to step up. I'm going to play. I'm going to stay locked in, and I'm going to play smart because my team needs me, especially on the offensive end. But yeah, I think moving forward, not only are they going to have to figure out how to guard on defense as the referees adjust to calling physical play around them, they're also going to have to figure out how they are going to adjust finding points, finding scoring without Cade Cunningham. It's the first time that they've really had to play without Cade for an extended period of time this season. And without Jaden Ivey, it's the first time they haven't had Jaden Ivey on top of not having Cade Cunningham. And they figured it out a little bit for the most part with Malik Beasley, but it's been a group effort. It's been Marcus Sasser, it's been Duren, it's been Asar, it's been Malik, it's been Tim, it's been Schroeder. Everyone has had to contribute. And I think after the guys got thrown out, Ron Holland as well, Isaiah Stewart, when those guys got thrown out, I think there was a need for Luke Walton to be able to do something that's been out of his bag as a coach for most of his career, which is be an X's and O's coach. When you have limited pieces, you have to be able to make those adjustments on the fly. Let's look for these particular types of points. Let's look for these particular types of buckets. We want to make sure that we are getting these looks each and every time, which means, hey, Lindy Waters comes in the game. We need to get him a. So let's go ahead and run this action. Lindy, this is going to be your shot right here because we want to get you acclimated the moment you touch down into the game, especially when you're shorthanded. They needed to get him going. I think he entered the game. He took 2 shots on the game. 2 shots in 13 minutes. You needed him to come in as a sharpshooter, gunning, because the only way they were going to stay in this game and get back in the game is if somebody from the bench gave them a contribution after Marcus Sasser, Ron Holland, and Isaiah Stewart got thrown out. This is the X's and O's thing, though. Simone Fontecchio, I'm going to be honest, man, this is a season for him. This is a rough season for Simone Fontecchio. He has been really disappointing. We know he has limitations on the defensive end. He's not going to have the agility or the foot speed. He gets really good effort. He plays physical, but he just doesn't have the ability, the acumen to be a plus defender on the defensive end. But offensively, he has left so much to be did by this team. Simone Fontecchio, like there's a certain point that I thought should have came a while ago, especially when they had like that home and home game against the Washington Wizards. I thought at that point should have tried Bobby Klintman. They should have tried Bobby Klintman and just said, you know what, let's just see. Because Fontecchio has had a full season up to that himself going. He just hasn't. And so he continues to get rolled out there, getting considerable. He played 25 minutes in this game and shot 1 for 8. He had 5 rebounds and an assist, but he was just lacking. He was just lacking. And I'm curious if he might be better in the starting unit, especially if Tobias Harris is out. I'm curious what he would look like in that starting unit. Weezy, D was good, man. I'm ready for them Bobby minutes. I was locked in. No, I was too. And Bobby didn't even attempt a shot. And I was disappointed by that because he had a couple of open looks, open lanes. And I was like, oh, go for it. Come in aggressive, just like Dennis Jenkins did. And he just didn't. And so I'm wondering if Bobby Clinton is still finding his own like confidence in that regard, because he really hasn't gotten a lot of minutes, which has been kind of a shame because I really wanted to see him kind of like to assert himself and really grab those minutes from Fontecchio. I don't know if he's grabbing the minutes in practice, but Bobby Clinton needs to really turn it on, because I know it's the end of the season, but we need to see that you want it, man. See that you want it, because in this upcoming draft, man, there's some players that the Pistons might decide to trade up and get to. Might be a guy that takes your spot eventually. Like there's a few dudes who are 6'8", 6'9", hybrid forwards who might come in and be like, hey, if they're available and we pick them up, I'm going to be honest with you, man, you're going to be competing with them next season. You might have a leg up because you've been here for a year. You know the system, you know the guys, but them minutes are not guaranteed for you moving forward. And remember, after it is no longer a developmental team. This is no longer a team that's going to be sitting around waiting for young guys to figure it out and get it going. This is going to be a team that's ready to win. Asar Thompson is going to be getting 35 after this season. Ron Holland is going to get up 20, 25 minutes after this season. Jaden Ivey's going to be back. He's going to be getting 35. Cade at 35. Darren at 35, right? Tobias Harris is going to get his 30. And all of a sudden, Stewart 20 to 25. All of a sudden, you're going to start seeing opportunity in those minutes shrink. The minutes that Simone Fontecchio are getting, the minutes that Tim Hardaway Jr., even Malik Beasley are getting, these veterans, it's going to shrink. And so if you're ready to come in and really demand minutes, don't expect that those minutes are going to be there. Really don't. You shouldn't. Now, a few more things. Moving forward, I want to see these Pistons continue to lock in on their roles. A bigger role that I needed from Asar Thompson is on the defense boards, for sure. For sure. That's something that I think is a real indicator for how locked in he is. Sometimes lately he's felt aloof, like he's floating. And I think that that's something to really take note of. I think that Dennis Schroeder should have utilized Asar Thompson as a point forward some more. I'm noticing Dennis Schroeder is a consummate floor general. He's going to demand a lot of the touches and setting up offense. But here's the thing. When they put Jaden McDaniels on him, that was when he needed to switch it up, because Jaden McDaniels shrunk that floor for Dennis Schroeder and kept him from being able to really get into the paint, have opportunity to finish or draw help defenders and create for others. At that moment, I would have really liked for Asar Thompson to have started demanding the ball, ask for the ball. And that's something that he's going to have to get comfortable doing. I've been saying that. Not just getting the defensive rebound, also making sure that you're asking for the ball and saying, yo, let me bring it up. Let me initiate the offense or try to create something. I would like to also see Asar Thompson get him in some other action that gets him opportunities around the rim. Let me see. Justin Chatton. Clip of JB telling them to let Asar Thompson handle the ball. Yeah. And it's something that he's going to have to step into that point of leadership. And that's something that for him and Jalen Duren, Asar Thompson and Jalen Duren are going to have to mature. It's a big leap to go from I'm a rookie, I'm a young guy who's figuring out the league, to all of a sudden saying, no, I'm a leader on this team. I'm important. I'm one of the primary guys. And I need to step into my role. I need to get my touches. I need to put my imprint on this game, and knowing exactly how to put the imprint on the game. And that's something that both of them are going to have to step into. Now, I know we have Oklahoma City coming up. Oklahoma City is not going to be an easy win at all. At all. And I said this is going to be a stretch. down the end of this season. I mean, the Detroit Pistons, they're at what are they at? 42 wins. Um, that's damn good. That's damn good for this season. I don't know if enough to stay at 42 wins to hold off Atlanta, Milwaukee, who aren't that far back. Like I think if they can get one, they're going to stay in the top six, even if they lose the rest. I think even though Atlanta's what 5.5 games out, I think one or two more wins should keep them. I think three more wins keeps them at number five. Keeps them at number five, if I'm honest with you. Um, where they're going to get those wins, they could come against anybody. Detroit has that ability to win against anybody. And I am a little concerned about what's going on with Cade Cunningham. And at the same time, I think it's creating opportunities for other players to step into their roles and play bigger roles, even though, if I'm honest with you, not a Sar, well, kind of a Sar, but Tim Hardaway Jr. and Malik Beasley, man, they are they are gunners. And I would love to see them create teammates a little bit more. I really would. But that's not their game. And so I don't mind them playing their game, their style. But at the same time, we need some other guys to start stepping up. And I think Ron Holland is starting to step up. I want to see he responds to this game. I want to see the energy that he comes out with, the focus he comes out with. Asar Thompson, I need more confidence from you on the offensive end. Like I want you taking more shots, especially the little pull up in the paint, shots that you've made before. I want to see you going up stronger. Even if you put your shoulder on a little jump hook, just go up strong. Force guys to foul you, put you on the free throw line. I know you shot 2 for 5, I think it was from the free throw line. I don't care. Keep putting pressure on defense. And then know where you're going to get your easy points from in transition. Get that ball in transition and push that thing up the court. I mean, that's all the way to that 3-point line. Read the floor. If you have a lane, attack that rim 100 miles an hour. But really push that pace, push the tempo. That's something that really, you're one of the few players on this team that can do that. Searching for Jerry Garcia. You see the Timberwolves spank. I didn't see the Timberwolves spank that ass. What is you talking about, bro? What is you talking about, bro? Who is this guy? Who is this guy? Yeah. Pistons with Cade are one of the best teams to watch, though. Yeah, I mean, Pistons are a great, entertaining team to watch, period. Playing physical, going hard. They shoot the ball. They're exciting. Malik has his little after making, a three or a bunch of three in a row. Give me a little, salsa, shake. You got Cade in his smooth game. Sar flying. Jalen Duren flying big. They're a great team to watch. But it's this game against the Timberwolves. Like, look, we know what it was, right? You got your two scorers not even playing the game, period. Cade and Ivy. You got Tobias Harris, your veteran forward, out, not playing. You have young guys who you're depending upon to the team, and then you lose three of them: Marcus Sasser, Ron Holland, Isaiah Stewart. All right, so now the team was down bad for bodies. Big team who had the same record, ironically, just about, who's supposed to be cutting. All right, and remember, the Timberwolves were down before that scrum, before that tussle. They was down. They were struggling. After that point, though, they were able to get it going in that second half. All right, but so I didn't see the Timberwolves spank no ass. I seen the Timberwolves look like a desperate team, which was sad because they had their starters. You had all your starters. And you needed guys to get ejected, players to get ejected, to find an advantage over a team that was already without its best two scorers. We know what happened the last time we played Minnesota and we had Cade. It looked totally different. It looked totally different. So Minnesota, I wouldn't even celebrate that win. I wouldn't have even celebrated. I would have been like, damn, we struggling out here. Because we losing to Tim Hardaway Jr. and Malik Beasley. They don't even have Ivy out there. They ain't even got Tobias Harris out there. You know what I mean? Just to chat, exactly, man. I want Asar to get his confidence back. Facts. Take those mid-range shots, man. Facts. I hope Cade is back for OKC. Me too. So concerned with how long he's been out for. Cause I'm like, damn, bro, like a calf strain. I get it. I get it. They want him back at 100%. I wouldn't rush Cade coming back either. You're gonna have a tough playoff series. You know, I don't want to rush him back. I am looking forward to him coming back though. Searching for Jerry Gus. How you think Cade will handle the playoffs for the first time? I think Cade is gonna show up. I think he's gonna show up. I think the hard part is I don't know what his wind is gonna be like. Cade is not the most well conditioned athlete, and when you have a lower body injury, you're not necessarily able to do a lot of cardio to get yourself going. And so he's likely going to come back and he's get his cardio. He's going to have to get his lungs back. And then at the same time, I don't want to overexert him after he comes back because it's a lower body soft tissue injury that he's coming off of. And so it's going to be interesting how many games he comes back to get his back going and then getting ready for the Indiana Pacers who are going to push pace and have multiple defenders on him. I think at this point, Asar Thompson really needs to get that point forward game going consistently because he's going to have to really be ready to take a lot of that burden off of Cade in the playoffs, which I think he can. He's showing an improved handle. You know, he looked good out there handling the ball. He just doesn't know how to create his own shot. He knows how to get to the rim. He knows how to get downhill. He just doesn't know how to really consistently create his own shot based upon how guys are guarding him. And so I think that's going to be one of the major adjustments. Also wanting to see Jalen Duren back opposing centers more. I really just, you know, I want to see ball hog Jalen. That's what I want to see. I want to see ball hog Jalen Duren. I want to see Jalen Duren just be like, yo, give me the ball and get out the. I want to see that fire that just says, you know, I have something to prove. I have a chip on my shoulder. I see myself as great, and I want to impose myself on this team. There's no reason why he can't do that against just about anybody. But when it comes to the playoffs, going up against Miles Turner, he will have the physicality advantage. He needs to go right through Evan Turner. He needs to put him on his backside almost every time and impose his will, get Miles Turner in foul trouble. Also want to see him start getting guys in foul trouble. He only shot one free throw in the last game, all right, against Minnesota. I want to see him start going into guys and give him that up and under. Get that shoulder into him. Get to that free throw line. Force them to defend you. Force them to worry about fouling you. Get the other team's opposing front court in foul trouble because that's how you're going to neutralize Miles Turner and his three-point shooting. The aggressor, and you let Miles Turner get away with just standing behind you as you do dribble offs and hope to catch lobs off of pick and rolls. It's going to be a long night because he's going to come back the other end and he's going to just become a flip on the three-point line because he's not being forced to exert energy and effort on the defensive. But yeah, I am kind of curious what you guys think about what it's going to be for the playoffs. I think we're going to end up against the Indiana Pacers. They're 2.5 games behind back from the Indiana Pacers, a game and a half ahead of the Milwaukee Bucks, who don't look like they're trending in a good direction. So I don't think we're worried as much about the Milwaukee Bucks, and I think we end up at the. I will say this: it will be an all hands on deck for the playoffs. It's going to be all hands on deck. What that means is everybody expected to chip in some way, somehow. We don't necessarily have the defensive personnel with Tim Hardaway Jr. and Malik Beasley, which is why we need Cade back in a hurry because we need some more. We need Tobias Harris fully healthy because we don't have the size. And so I think if we get Tobias Harris and Cade back in that starting lineup and continues to play that 33 to 35 minutes a game, give this team really good size on the perimeter and the forward wing position, which should allow them to control the boards better. I really wanted to play the Knicks for a matchup and national TV. I get that. But I think that there's going to be a lot of attention for the Pistons and the Pacers because of this kind of rekindling an old rivalry. And I think there's a lot of energy between those teams. I did a video a while ago on just why that Pacers Pistons rivalry is going to be something that's big time over foreseeable future. When you look at who was drafted, Jaden Ivey over Ben Mathurin, Asar Thompson over Jarris Walker. You got guys like Cade Cunningham and Tyrese Halliburton being probably two of the best few guards, lead guards in the Eastern Conference, if not the NBA. They're in the same division. And then I think there's a lot of, I'm not going to say bad blood, but it's definitely competitive energy. Like guys from the Pacers and the Pistons, they look forward to playing the other team. They look forward to not just playing the other team, but also to proving themselves against the other team. And they're like, let's go. They get up. And so I think it's going to be a highly spirited game. I think it's going to be one of those games where you're going to see little chicken wing elbows. You're going to see a couple of tussles. You're going to see, definitely probably a tech or two by the end of the playoff series. Detroit Pistons have a chance. They have a chance, but it will be all hands deck. Everybody will need to contribute for that series for them to stay in it and have a chance at the end. I think they'll have the best closeout guy in Cade Cunningham. He'll have to pace himself. He'll have to make sure that he can finish out games in that fourth quarter. And if he can establish himself as the closer in fourth quarters in the playoffs, I think that's going to position the Pistons for a chance to win that series. But it will be it. Make no mistake about that. Make no mistake about that. This series coming up against the Indiana Pacers in the playoffs, and I think I'm probably going to do a separate video on that. It is going to be box office. It's going to be intense. Guys are going to be diving on the floor. These will be thrown around. Guys are going to be flying up and down because these are two teams that play at their best at a higher tempo. These are teams that have seen pass. I think the Pacers might have the tiebreaker. Well, no, they've played each other 6 times. So yeah, I think the Pacers may have won 4. Either that or it's like 3-3. All to say is that the Pacers and the Pistons play a similar style, and they're going to push each other. Who can really control an up-tempo game? We know he's the type to get 15 assists and have 0 turnovers. That's not so much. Cade if he's getting 15 assists, he's giving you 4 to 6 turnovers. And against a Pacers team that can spell. And so they're going to need everybody to step up into their roles. But I appreciate everybody for jumping on with me in this live chat. Smash the like button if you haven't already. But I'm going to holler at y'all next time. I'm probably going to do a preview for the game tomorrow against OKC. I think it's tomorrow, right? Let's see. No, Wednesday. So we got a couple days off. And it will be on ESPN too. So we'll see how they come out. Cade might be ready for that game. I think they'll want to get him back to get his wind up, get his rhythm for the playoffs. Tobias Harris as well. But I'm looking forward to that game, and I'm going to holler at y'all next time. Peace.